In today's video, we are going to be breaking down Kristaps Porzingis and his shooting form. If you're a bit taller, or if you are looking to just improve your shot, this is definitely the video for you. Let's get down, let's check his shooting form out. So we can see from this angle right here that he likes to get his right foot pointing towards the rim. We always like to look at the base and work ourselves up. From there, we also can see that both of his heels are off the ground, so he is engaging his calves, which will allow him to get up into the air much faster. Next, we really want to look at his overall body, and is his body in line and balanced? And from this clip that we're looking at, we can see that he isn't exactly balanced in a sense of traditional shooting. And what I mean by that is he has his right foot and right knee quite a bit farther ahead than his shoulders. Generally speaking, a lot of players will want to get their shoulders in line with their knees, in line with their toes. And then from there, what we do see is that he tends to have his back straight, which is good, but that is in line with his heels. For a lot of players, this could take away their power. However, when you're talking about somebody like Kristaps Porzingis, when he goes up for a shot anyways, he tends to have his feet slightly ahead of his body anyways, which will sometimes, for some players, be able to recoup some of that power, because that's essentially pushing your body forward. And we can see that here, where he takes off from this spot and then moves forward. He was taking off from there, and now he's moving ahead roughly about a foot to maybe 14 to 15 inches. This will allow him to recoup some of the power for having his upper body towards the back. Now, this is also something that some players will incorporate into their shot if they're a lot more powerful upper body wise when they're younger. So, because Kristaps Porzingis is basically 7 feet tall, we can assume that he was quite a strong player when he was younger. And even when we go to a higher quality image back when he was with the Knicks, we can still see the same exact back in line with his heels as we seen earlier with, or technically newer clips with the Mavericks. We also see that when he brings the ball up to his set point from his gather, he doesn't really dip the ball all that much. It dips maybe from the top of his waistband to the bottom. That's about it. You will usually always have some kind of a dip. Some players will dip only to their waist, others will dip until their knees. That's kind of like a backswing in golf. Now, the bigger your dip is, the slower your shot's going to be, but at the same time, sometimes more balanced your shot will be. So it's kind of an offset in that kind of a sense. When he brings the ball up from his gather up into his set point, we can see that he doesn't bend his elbow on the way up until he hits right about there to his set point, and at that point he does bend his elbow a little bit more. You want to have the least amount of movement as possible to have a consistent shot. Now, he does have close to a 45-degree angle on his shooting arm, and what we can get from that is he's using that for a lot of power, especially when you're shooting from a logo range. You're going to need that, but he tends to shoot like that from everywhere on the court. We can also see from this clip that he has a gap between his palm and the ball, and that he actually gets into the air before releasing the ball. Some players, for a quicker shot, will release the ball from here, and that will take away a lot of your power and a lot of your arc. I always suggest trying to shoot the ball when you're at the top of your shooting form, or at the top of your jump, or when you're just slightly coming down from your jump. Now, if you're going to basically release the ball on the way up, something similar to a Steph Curry, you're going to get a little bit more power on your shot, but it could be more inconsistent with some players. With Porzingis, we also see that he releases just 2 to 3 frames before the top of his jump. So he's getting a lot more power from the actual jump. Now, for players who release right at the top of their jump, what that's going to signify is somebody who is really trying to have a two-motion shot, Or what that could also mean is they are essentially aiming, getting their form right throughout their shot. For the players like Ray Allen, who actually shoot when they're coming back down from their jump, they'll actually release on the way back down. Those are the players who will have slower shots, but a lot higher of a percentage in most cases. We can also see from this angle that he does not have a thumb flick like Curry or Kyrie Irving, but he does have a soft release because the hand is curved, very similar to Steph Curry. So what a soft release does for the player when they're shooting is it gives you more arc on the ball. Meanwhile, somebody like a Michael Jordan who has a hard release where it's just the wrist bending, that's going to then be more backwards rotation on the ball, but less arc. That's why Kristaps Porzingis' shot is actually quite a hard shot to block because he gets a ton of arc on it. We can also see from this next angle, which was a practice shot, and we could see this from the other angles as well. Instead of having his weak side foot a bit farther ahead, where essentially the toes line up with the balls of his feet, we actually see that his toes line up with the heels of his feet. Now, for some players, this will allow them to get more power, and it does help them tilt their body away from the net slightly, even though Porzingis is trying to be square, it seems like, with his shot. His set point is right above his right forehead, and then when he releases, he gets his elbow at or above his forehead, which will give him arc as well. We can really see where his set point is in this clip. It's right over top of the right forehead, and then we can actually see that the ball is just meeting his elbow. A lot of players will have more success if they could get that ball more over. However, with the tilt away from the net, that will and should help out that shot. We can see that he does not have a thumb flick as well in this clip. And then we can see that he releases that ball from other clips with his middle and pointer finger. Now, the reason why he has such an accurate shot for having that ball over the top of the right side of his forehead and not over his upper arm or elbow or shoulder is because when he goes up for the actual shot and he releases, we can see that even though his set point is not over his arm or his shoulder or his elbow, when he goes up to release, the body tilts away, and that makes that ball in line with that upper arm. This will allow him to have a very consistent shot. He does, however, bring his arm down quite quickly from that shot as well. And we can see how much that dip is right there. If he catches it at the chest, he brings it right down to his waist and then back up. So his waist is where his gather is, and then he rises up for his shot. The ball goes up the center of his body, up to his set point. Some coaches will say that you should go up the right side only. Other coaches will say you should go up the middle only. I say whatever is comfortable. As long as you get that ball roughly about here, if you're right-handed, then you're all set. We can see in this next clip, when it comes to a set shot and he catches it at his waist, he just brings it farther out in front of his waist. He doesn't have a dip in this case. I hope that this video helps you be able to shoot the basketball better, especially if you're taller. If it does, hit that like button, subscribe. Make sure to go check out all of my equipment down in the description below that I use for the videos, as well as with clients and as well as in videos. And I'll see you guys again next time.